Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Real Football Talk. I have Adi with me. Adi, how are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Been a long weekend.
Oh, trust me, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Good
How about
weekend.
you?
Good weekend of football. Yeah, but knackered. Busy. Trying to find time to watch the games is hard. But anywho, let's get on with it. I mean, Liverpool winning their ninth League Cup title. No one has won more than them. Fantastic achievement. What did you make of the final?
Um, Excellent final, one of the best finals we've seen. I
Oh,
really enjoyed the match. Had like had like different phases in it in each in each half. First half, Chelsea started off strong. Then
yeah.
Liverpool dominated. Then I felt second half, Chelsea dominated most of that. But Liverpool had their odd 10-minute spells. And then extra time, the first half of extra time, I thought Chelsea dominated. The second one, Liverpool did. So, what was the good thing was that both teams played to win. Both teams played attacking, football, and both teams kind of showed how, you know, the philosophies work. The both philosophies, um, and type of the brand of football, the formation, uh, they all work in terms of attacking. That's for sure.
Yeah, not much so defending because I mean there's so many chances in that game. What do you make of the three goals that were disallowed?
Matip one was harsh. I didn't think that. I mean, just because he's offside and he's doing a block, doesn't make sense to me. I mean,
But he is interfering,
if they're
isn't
going to
it?
penalize the block, they should penalize the block because it happens, all the time.
No, no,
But just
but
to penalize blocks that someone's offside, I don't.
the interpretation would be he's interfering with play because he's stopping the guy from going and headering that ball.
Yeah, but then you're gonna, you can say the same thing about every time someone who is offside and then comes on side. Do you get it? Because at the end of the day, that affects what the defender will do, who the defender will go to. The defender will ignore a player who's standing offside.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't really like the rule. It seems like it's suddenly come up since happened to I think United, and then
Yeah,
now
it's back. Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, the other two are clearly offside. I mean, Lukaku one was really tight.
yeah.
Um, you know,
Good finish though. Good finish.
yeah.
Uh, but in terms of, I mean, obviously, he went to penalties, and obviously Liverpool ended up winning and Kepa missing. What do you make of the decision to bring on a keeper, just in a general point of view? Because obviously, when he's going to penalties, do you agree with it as a coach? Do you agree with the decision to bring on a keeper? Because I think Mendy was amazing. I thought he was on fire. Why not keep a guy on who's just literally saving everything? And he's not a bad keeper. So,
As a coach, I understand it.
hmm,
If in training there is a clear difference between the penalty saving abilities of each keeper, then I could understand that decision. And also as a coach, um, keeping the squad happy, the harmony of the squad, the player happy. He's played in every round, he's played in big games. When Mendy's been away, he's missed out on the Club Cup final when he played in the semi. Um, he filled in during that time when Mendy was in African nation. So
yeah,
I get it from
but then why
all of
not?
that point of view.
Why not play him then? Why not
Yeah,
play him in that game, Adi? I'm just saying from the start. Because if you
because
select him,
in the game and penalty saves are two different things.
hmm,
One could be better at in-game goalkeeping, and the other could be better at penalties. I mean, for this game, I'm not sure if it's the right thing because I saw Mendy do save, in the penalty shootout of the
yeah,
African Nations Cup,
that's it. Yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying.
He actually looks like a very good penalty shot stopper.
And he's
I
huge.
thought
He's a huge frame of it. When you're going to take it, it makes a huge difference in terms of when you.
he's good at reading it. He's
Yeah.
good at reading penalties. So I think it's a myth that Kepa is better than Mendy, because when I watched Mendy in the African nations, I definitely felt because I don't know why I've never really thought Mendy Kepa is actually that good because of his such an upright stance he has. But the main thing is yeah, pardon the hiccups.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, because he's not there, is it?
But basically, yeah, he has but he does do saves. He has one penalty shootout. But I thought today there was a few both keepers I thought were really poor actually at penalty. There was a few that were quite
Yeah,
obvious.
there's a lot of them, though. I mean, he wasn't even going in the corner. Like, I thought it's going to be some top quality with the way he started, but he just going.
No, I mean, there were some real quality penalties.
But at the beginning, but it just died down. Because I've seen so many penalty shootouts, and the levels of penalties has been amazing.
Yeah, I felt there was some real obvious ones where the player striking the ball kind of showed which side they're going early, just from their body stance, and it should have been quite easy to read. So I was a bit surprised. So yeah, I thought both keepers were good at reading the penalty shots, and
I mean, you can give it to Callaghan.
Kepa took a goal kick. I mean, for the penalty, that was sky high.
3 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. Yes. But no, great final though. Very, very good to watch. Very good to watch.
Yeah, tactically, I thought it was really good. I thought there's a lot of, a lot of different things both teams tried to try and get the supremacy. I think one of the big things Liverpool did to dominate the first half was their rotation of the three players. They never stuck to. You didn't know who was the striker, who was playing on the left, and who was playing on the right. As I mean, Mane played central more. But it was very loose, between Luis and Mane. They were able to switch quite often, and I thought that made it really difficult for the back five or the back three of Chelsea to pick up.
Diaz looks a real deal, doesn't he? He looked class.
Yeah, I mean,
he looked class today.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised when Mane got subbed off before Luis Diaz.
Yeah, I mean, he was smashing it.
Yeah, but second half Mane was a factor and Diaz was still making things happen, but he just looks such an intelligent player. He knows when to pass, when to dribble. He's got variations, left foot, right foot. I mean, his touch is amazing.
He's got that Firmino no-look pass as well. He kept doing that. I was like, yo.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. But in terms of,
I thought Chelsea were really good in the way they once they got to the second half of extra time, the way they were trying to expose the space behind Trent. So they moved Havertz down that side, Werner down that side, and Alonso, and they were really trying to expose Trent's defending, which was like a good tactical change. But ultimately, the game comes down to really Matt not being able to put the clearest chances of the game away.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, the one where he hit the post, I mean, the touch to before he took the shot, I mean, he barely got the ball out of his feet. It's like take a proper touch and then you can strike the ball properly.
It's funny.
So that was surprising.
Exactly like something we saw today in our Sunday game, wasn't it?
Yeah. So definitely expected him to do better with that first one. Maybe the chance came too early. I don't know. And then Salah had a really good chance that you'd expect him to put away.
Yeah. Still
entertaining game.
Doesn't look like it. The way the game went, it didn't look like a nil-nil. If you look at it, the amount of chance.
Yeah, I mean,
That could have just finished it.
both keepers were really good. I mean, Mendy
Oof.
arguably could have been given man of the match in my opinion because
Yeah,
he pulled. I mean, the double save that was just unbelievable.
that was
And
it.
you know, from who is it, Keita, and then Mane on the follow up. Is
And
it
then
that
the
was
follow-up, yeah.
yeah
You should,
that was
Manu should have buried that, to be honest. Yeah,
that was going towards the bottom corner, man. That's just a fantastic save.
yeah.
That's just a fantastic. You can't put nothing on Mane for that. For me, Mendy
Go to the
read.
keeper.
Obviously, the striker's going to go bottom corner and just spread, and that was just amazing.
Yeah.
So I thought Mendy was colossal, and you know, was my man of the match to say the truth.
Mm. Do you think the deserved team won in terms of Liverpool overall? Do you think they deserve to win that?
I mean, they had the most dominant spell in that first half of the game when they dominated for half an hour straight, and you know, when Liverpool give their best, I mean, that is really tough to contend with. I mean, Chelsea were just playing long balls and clearing it. No attempt to pass that because the press was so good, the pressure was so good, and that was surprising. But they regrouped in the second half. I thought they were the stronger team in the second half. So, yeah, I wouldn't say, you know, that was the final. Both teams played well. Both teams, you know, you can't say
You can't knock anyone, yeah.
one kind of deserved it more than the other. I felt both both of them. But in the long term, I mean, this is going to be huge for Liverpool because they played some young guys who are playing in their first final, and now they've got that winning feeling. That's just gonna
Spread them on.
that's just gonna take because you know Kelleher, you got Elliot, you got Konate came on.
Diaz.
Diaz has probably maybe I'm not sure. I'd be surprised if he hasn't won anything with Porto, but you know there was.
But it's a different
You know,
kind of
there
thing.
was I think in the long term, this is bigger for Liverpool than it is for Chelsea because a lot of those Chelsea players have been winning finals. You know,
Yeah.
they've won 3 this in this year already. So yeah, I think it was bigger for Liverpool.
Let's move away from the final. Let's get back to bread and butter Premier League. What did you make of the Man City Everton game? I mean, let's straight away start with the blatant penalty decision. I mean, there's nowhere else to start. What did you make of that? How is VAR not giving that as a penalty?
It's just it's not getting to a stage where you know. When you know it's going to subjectivity of referees, and the thing is, because there's no rule involved, they just change their minds every day. You know, this I think Chris Kavanagh is the one who gave that as a no thingy, and then on another day he's giving
That as a
absolutely the softest thing as a penalty. It does, you know, unless there's a study, it really is, you know, it's becoming something like you have to wonder what it is that is forming these decisions because that's as clear as it gets. It's touching it right in the middle of the arm.
Yeah, it's got an arrow. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, and you think about it, for City's goal, Michael Keane makes a mistake.
Yeah.
He has more. Everyone's saying unlucky. I'm sorry, that's not.
No, I don't think that's unlucky.
That's just he had so much time to adjust from when the kick is going to the edge of the box originally before it gets deflected. it wasn't zipping at him. There is so much time to readjust your weight balance. Yeah, to move your feet. That's just pure bad habits, and I've seen Michael Keane do this, where he just stretches for a ball. He's cost goals and done own goals recently because of that same technique where he just stretches rather than moving his feet. So that's a mistake. And he got punished and City took the lead. Yet Rodri makes a mistake and he doesn't get punished.
Get punished, yeah. Yeah.
And so the thing is, you know,
Let me ask you, Adi, do you think it would have been different if it was the other way around? It was 0-0 and it was Everton player that done that. I think Man City got a penalty.
probably but that's the thing in it. That's why you have to now question it. When you're now letting VAR make subjective decisions, like no one minds if the referee in the middle is making subjective decisions. Sometimes they're in the stadium, all right, you can complain they can get influenced by the fans or
But Adi, the PGMO come out and said the reason for him not giving it was because it was not clear and obvious. How more clear and obvious do you need to get?
Yeah, they said there wasn't enough evidence when clearly there was.
Okay,
So,
but for me, even if that,
I feel City's got a lot of good decisions going.
If you look at it, okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, it's subjective for you. But why does he need to refer to the referee who obviously couldn't see it because of the angle it was at? Refer it to him to go make the decision.
Why? Because he knows once you refer it, it's going to be given, and he didn't want it given, so he didn't refer it. That's only thing you can say is, Chris Kavanagh is obviously got some bets on City winning the title.
We need to look into this.
Because if he just stuck to common sense and doing his job, he would have just referred it.
Yeah, refer it.
Yep, it did hit that high.
I'm sure the other referee would have told him that I couldn't see it because of the angle, so he can't give it. So one of
there's that other line about whether it was intentional or not. Well, at least 90% of penalties that are given are unintentional.
Yeah.
So the whole intentional thing just might as well rule it out. If we go back to the game, I have to say I thought first half Everton played really well, and City looked a bit lethargic, and Everton really found a good system in terms of getting the ball out wide and then back into Van der Beek and really beating the press of City. But then that second half, City woke up, done the pressing properly, squeezed up the pitch a bit more, and that was it. Everton were just camped, couldn't get out. But again, it's another game where I felt Pep took too long to get Mahrez on. Everything was predictable. Everything was just going out wide and crossing the ball, much like the Tottenham game. They are struggling to open teams up with their creativity. That's the second game in a row where De Bruyne wasn't really a factor. I mean, he had one good shot, but we're used to De Bruyne just opening teams up, doing special things, and I think City are struggling with their creativity, and they definitely got away with one yesterday.
I mean they won in the weekend 5-0. I think they kind of obviously thought this is going to be a bit of a walk in the park, but clearly not. Are Everton in trouble, do you reckon? I mean, I'm just looking at the table, 22 points, 17th in the table. Burnley behind Burnley, and then they got the same games. Do you reckon they're gonna get in there?
I think if they have most of their players fit, they'll be fine. I mean, looking at that performance, that was a strong performance.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised if mentally the pressure of the being in a relegation scrapbook will be difficult for them, because they got enough battlers, they got enough guys who can play physical, enough experience. So I think, they should be worried, but I still don't think they'd go down.
I mean, they got some real tough fixtures coming up. They got Tottenham away, then Wolves at home, Newcastle at home. I mean, these are 6 pointers, pretty much the ones against Newcastle and Watford.
Well, when you're 1 point off the relegation zone, every game's a 6 pointer. So I just think, I think they'll pick up points. I really do. they looked really good in that first half.
Mm, mm. Especially considering it's against a Man City team. Let's move on in terms of other teams. United versus Watford. What did you make of that? I mean, United was so dominant, but Watford just hung in there.
Yeah, I think it just showed how much United haven't really got a good balance in their squad, because Ronaldo looked really tired, and he passed up a lot of good opportunities, but he was actually physically getting manhandled by the Watford defenders.
Mm.
I have to say, Samir from Watford was absolutely amazing. Definitely the man of the match for me. The amount of blocks, tackles, reading of the play that
even Sissoko, the last month, he's been phenomenal, winning those second balls, those batters, and pulling the team forward.
You can tell the captaincy is really, giving him a boost, and he's been playing well, and they've kind of slightly changed his position to a bit more playing on the right side.
Yeah,
a bit more, but which is what he was used to at Tottenham. So maybe that too has helped with his performances, because under Ranieri they're playing him more as a central midfielder. But yeah, I just thought United just really struggled to put away their chances, and
I'm just surprised how they didn't score.
They didn't test the keeper enough, Ben Foster enough. But they just got that side where they just lack that cutting edge. They just look like a team that, unless a chance falls to Fernandes, you just don't feel like they've got that cutting edge. A lot of young guys, they never take a shot where you're convinced that it's going to test the keeper, beat the keeper, and that's how they played. I just felt, in terms of performance, one of their strongest performances is, it's been a long time since I've seen United completely dominate a game like that. I mean, Watford couldn't get out of the half.
Yeah, I mean, he changed the formation to a 4-5-1 and stuck with it.
When you watch the way United play and the way they attack, you can see the players are in sync. All these other teams, they'll have the link up between the winger and the midfielder and the fullback is really good, and they'll work it nicely, and they'll get the fullback free, and they'll get good crosses or some opportunity. But with United, it's still very much individual. You can tell the players don't know what to do, and everyone was kind of static. Just got on the ball, dribble a bit, pass to someone else. There was no real method to how they're gonna.
Don't you think that kind of played into Watford's hand? It made it a bit easier for them because they knew what they were expecting.
Yeah, and I thought tactically Ragnick made a huge mistake taking Matic off. He took Matic off at the time where he was the most influential player on the pitch.
Yeah.
He was spreading the ball left and right, causing Watford problems. And I don't know why he kept Pogba on. Before that point, Pogba, you could tell, was leggy and very tired. So, and he never changed to bring in two up top. When you seen your striker get physically manhandled by the two Watford defenders, you need to go man from hand. You need to get two up there, because okay, they might be physically stronger, but technically and in every other area, they got mistakes in them, or else they'll be playing for the big teams.
Yeah.
So force them, put pressure on them by putting two strikers up. Even when he brought Rashford on, he played him in a 10. Brought Fernandes into midfield. I was like, that's just, Wan-Bissaka done nothing in attacking.
The other thing I saw, it felt like Fernandes was too deep. I don't want Fernandes. Well, you don't want Fernandes picking up the ball from defense. That's not where he's effective. the goal that the chance they created where Fernandez was further forward, that's where you want him.
Yeah, I mean he's does that thing that so you got Gerrard and De Bruyne used to go to that right hand side to whip the ball in. Fernandez likes to do the same thing. Only difference is he doesn't go to right, he actually goes to right back.
Yeah.
He actually goes to the byline and does it. It's like, you don't need to go that far to whip it in.
It becomes a right wing back.
It just shows in it the lack of end quality, because at the end of the day, no one in the Liverpool team or City team really need to do that much. Why? Because they've got fullbacks who got quality crosses. You got Chelsea who have James, Aspilicueta. You got City who have Walker,
Cancelo
when he plays there, and you got Liverpool have Trent. So it's United have Wan-Bissaka. I mean, that's the problem, isn't it?
You got Dallo. You got Dallo.
Yeah, Dallo, who has been, but I think Dallo's struggled in the recent game. I can't remember which one it was, but since then he's not playing. But last few games, I think tactically they'll be worried about the pace of the wingers. So this team is Rohan Dennis,
Manuel Dennis, yeah.
So you can tell that's why they went with Wan-Bissaka. And I just think, when you're at home and you're dominated, that's too much. You got Varane, you don't worry about the opposition to that point. Even at the end of the game when you're chasing, I mean, they took Shaw off for Tellez was doing fine. He was getting crosses. Shaw didn't add anything to the game, but actually the one guy who looked out of place, not in sync with the attacking, Wan-Bissaka, he kept on. So yeah.
Do you think that has a big bearing in the top four race?
Well, clearly it takes a lot of the pressure off Arsenal, because they now have 3 games in hand. So they have a bit more margin for error, which they didn't have. So yeah, it definitely does have a bearing, because it brings Tottenham back into it.
Tottenham, if Tottenham win their 2 games in hand, they go above United.
Yeah, so it brings those teams back into it now. But really, it's all on Arsenal. Really, the pressure's on them now, because they're in such a favourable position. Really, they could potentially be 8 points clear of United if they win their games in hand.
Games in hand against Chelsea.
And I think they'd be 2 points behind Chelsea as well. So, they could make it a challenge. They could even, if they win those games in hand, aspire to get third, to get it. So that's how much of a favourable position Arsenal are in, and all pressure's on them now.
In terms of the other top 4 chasers, Tottenham 4-0. So the end of the Bielsa as well. We'll get to Bielsa. Let's talk about Tottenham. I mean, good win. Even though Leeds dominated.
I mean, that first half an hour is predictable. Yeah. I actually felt sorry for Leeds. I mean, I felt sorry for the fans. They were so pumped up before the game, and then that first 27 minutes, because they're 3-0 down, and it was just it was like just continuation of the last game. It's like nothing had stopped. They just paused and then continued, and 3-0 down. They performed better in the second half. Leeds made changes, but that's another thing as well. I mean, if you look at the last 6-7 games, I think Bielsa's made half-side subs, every single one of them, and it's all tactical. It's not because of injuries, because of tactical. So that tells you there's a lot not right, because he's getting the lineup and the tactics and the setup wrong every single game, or he's have to adjust it. But the thing is, no one's doing anything new against them. If you got your scouting, what Tottenham are going to do. You saw what they did against City.
Yeah.
You know whoever else they lost to, what they're gonna do. So, Everton they lost to, all these teams are kind of obvious what they're doing, and if your defense is that weak, I just think, unfortunately,
But it doesn't.
cost him. His stubbornness has cost him.
It doesn't help if you're defending, like your right back or your centre back going out of place. All of a sudden, you're out of shape completely.
Thing is, Bielsa is such a legend in terms of, and the reason why Pochettino, Pep, and a lot of the top coaches call him the best in the world is because of his ability to make seemingly average players take the step to becoming world class, and that's purely because of the way he pushes them, the way he teaches them, the way he drives them. But the main reason is it's the mental work he does with those players. He really challenges them. He really changes their outlook on life, on football. So you look at all his ex-players, they don't just talk about how he's improved them technically as footballers made. They actually talk about how he's improved them as men, as people, as a person in society. So he clearly understands the mental side of the game. Now, what I don't understand is if you're taking a drubbing every single week, how can you, a coach who understands the mental side of it, cannot understand that your players' confidence are low in terms of defending? So why not, instead of being stubborn, do something different? Not just because you're betraying your beliefs. It's because you understand the mental side, that your player is low on so much confidence that he can't perform it to the way you want. And unless you drop him, which you won't because you're very loyal to your players, you need to change something. And that doesn't mean you're betraying your beliefs or your system. That's you understanding what you already understood in the first place, to make these players good, to make them in your first team, which is you understand that mentally they need a bit more help. They need a bit more support. They've got into this cycle of not believing in themselves, defending as a team and defending man for man. So move off man for man.
Yeah, that's what we thought at the beginning of the season. He's kind of moved away. He's kind of toned himself a bit more, but it seems like he's got, as soon as the results start going against him, he's turned back to the tried and tested, really.
Well, it just shows, isn't it? Man for man only works when you have your main men.
Yeah,
and when Cooper and Bamford and Phillips, your spine of the team gone, then unfortunately they weren't good enough mano. So, and Bielsa suffered for his lack of flexibility in his approach.
I mean, he's completely turned this Leeds team around, and obviously massive kudos to him for bringing them up and keeping them up.
Yeah, I mean, he's a legend, and the thing is, when you think about it,
it's a shame because we all love watching Leeds.
Leeds were the perfect club for him.
Yeah,
for the type of person he is. He loves the underdog story. He loves passionate fans. He loves, everywhere he goes where the supporters are fanatical. Athletic Bilbao, Marseille. That's why he's Napoli. Was it Napoli? I'm not sure. I think it was Napoli. But he's always gone to those type of clubs anyway, that just fanatical. And yes, and Leeds really, and he's galvanized the whole city. I mean, he took on the pressure, got them up, got them playing the brand of football that's been synonymous with Leeds, playing the youth. So yeah, it's a shame. It's a real shame that he hasn't worked. We'll definitely miss him because
love watching
he's a genius, isn't it? He's a genius, and that with his best team, he would give the top teams a run for their money.
I mean, we've seen it, right? Last year, even this year at the beginning, we've seen it. He can go toe to toe with anyone.
Yeah, I'm just trying to wonder if City and Liverpool have both played Leeds, because if one of them has played them less than the other, they're going to be ruining Bielsa being sacked, because it could come down to goal difference this title run,
Well, I mean, Liverpool just recently played them and thumped them 6-0. So
6-0, that's what I mean. So City might be upset because
when City played them, I think they drew 2-2 or something earlier in the season. So
That's right, the start of the season, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
in terms of the new man that's potentially coming, I think his name Mash is been managing Salzburg, and then obviously had a short stint at Leipzig. What do you make of him?
yeah, he's another Ralph Ragnick protege, so it's getting a bit ridiculous.
I mean, just the Premier League just trying to bring all of Ralph's boys.
It's becoming the Ralph Ragnick League, what the heck? You get it. You go Hassan Hurtel, you go Tuchel, now you get Marsh. It's getting a bit crazy here. So yeah. Yeah, I mean he's another one who likes to do the high press. I mean the surprising thing was how much he struggled with at Leipzig, and he struggled to connect with the players. And he's got a bit of that Benitez about him, that he's quite professional with the players. He's not that young type of man, even though he looks very young.
He hasn't got that personal touch.
Yeah, he hasn't got it like that, which is strange. He's American, so you'd think he'd have that personal touch. Maybe the Premiership may help him, but he's slightly more conservative version of the Ralph Ragnick high press, system. He done really well at Salzburg, progressed them quite well. Done quite well in Champions League when he was with them. It's just this Leipzig he really struggled to stamp his authority and thingy. And maybe that's just a reflection of how much Nagelsmann is a good coach, and how much Nagelsmann was able to get out of the players and do with the players that struggled.
Yeah. In terms of Leeds, I mean, do you reckon they're in trouble?
Sorry?
Do you think they're in trouble? Because obviously 23 points, 26 games played. Everton and Burnley both have played 24, 2 games in them.
It kind of depends on who they get. If it is Jesse Marsh, it's still a risk.
Is it time for Big Sam?
I think the Leeds fans will block him. We don't even let him come up to Ellen Road. Yeah, no. So yeah, they are at risk. There's no doubt about it. A lot kind of depends on when those players are coming back. They are still the leaders of the club. It's not just that they're good players and they're influential on the pitch. They are, leaders within the club. So yeah. It's getting precarious for them.
Squeaky sometimes. But in terms of we'll get to the relegation battles. Let's just quickly touch up on the top 4. West Ham versus Wolves, going on for West Ham 1-0. Souček on his birthday.
Yeah, that was like a snooze fest of a match. Wow. We've been spoiled recently with really.
And we have to have 1 week where it's not good. Every game's not like that.
I mean, yeah, West Ham was slightly the better team. Comical defending from Saiss. I mean, I just don't understand what he was thinking. Souček must have thought, he got all his, wishes come true, because that's just crazy how you can be left totally free in the 6-yard box. And yeah, poked it, but the game just lacked quality. It was real boring. A slow tempo. We're watching some fast tempo matches everywhere. All the matches, is really lively, energetic, pumped up. And then you saw this, and you just thought, oh my gosh.
But they're fighting for Champions League, and it's like
it just seemed like,
we don't believe it.
Two teams just keeping possession, playing slow tempo build up, no real belief in their attacks, no real belief that they can score, open up the team. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of us, Wolves, sorry, is that them done for that top 4 race? Because obviously,
I never thought they ever were in the top four
Arsenal.
race.
Mm,
I never thought they were. I mean, you have to, you're when you're looking at the teams that can roll off, 4 or 5 wins in a row, I think that Wolves ain't one of them. Yeah,
mm,
they had a great patch, but as you can see, as soon as the pressure was on them, as soon as they playing some of the bigger and better teams, they're getting beaten quite comfortably. Really, I thought Arsenal beat them comfortably. This was quite a comfortable win for West Ham.
mm. Uh, and in terms of West Ham, I mean, how good of a win is that? Because obviously it gives them 2 points off Man United, right in the battle.
Yeah, it's a huge win for them because they're not looking great as well. They weren't great today either.
It seems like they're struggling to score. I mean, Antonio hasn't scored.
Yeah, the attack looks a bit flat. The
Yeah,
attack looks a bit flat.
Jared Bowen kind of carried them the last couple of weeks, but yeah, it just seems really.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's down to Wolves because they're so defensively solid. Maybe that's the reason why.
Hmm.
you know, but yeah, big win at the end of the day just keeps their momentum, keeps them challenging, keeps them going. And yeah, I thought Kurt Zuma was actually fantastic at the back today. Probably the West Ham's best player.
Hmm. I mean, they got Liverpool next away, massive for them.
Yeah, but they're I don't know, their style of football is the type that
Liverpool struggled, yeah.
could cause Liverpool problems.
Hmm.
It all depends if Liverpool, get the first goal. If they're as clinical as they have been, because then they can dictate
But
the game
recently,
a bit.
Liverpool just been on fire. So gonna be interesting. Gonna be another interesting game. Now let's look at the relegation. Well, Brentford versus Newcastle, 2-0 win for Newcastle. They just seem to be like running away from this relegation battle, really.
Yeah, I think obviously they got a big upper hand with the
Sending off.
heading off. I think that did have an impact on the game, but they're playing really good. They're playing hard, physical. They're really putting a shift in, and yeah, it's momentum. They've got all the momentum going with them, and
Haven't
they're
lost in
setting,
seven, I do.
they're
Haven't
looking up
lost
the
in
table
seven.
rather than down.
Yeah. I mean, if they get
And,
5 more points, they're straight in there for.
and the two scorers, Joe Linton, Willock have been playing really well. So yeah, I think they're gonna that 25 mil for Wood is starting to look a bit like might be one of the flops of the one of those flop signings ever, because it doesn't look like scoring. I mean, he done really good for the assist for Willock's goal, but
Yeah, doesn't
maybe
matter,
that's
right?
the confidence he needs.
What's
But yeah,
25
that's
million?
something. I mean, they're winning games, but they still got who's it, Wilson to come.
Yeah,
They got last few games they've missed Saint Maximan, who's injured.
and they're still winning.
Wood hasn't started firing yet. So, Trippier, everyone was worried once Trippier got injured, and they've continued to win the last 2 games. And, worst of all, Guimaraes isn't getting no game time. So, yeah.
You upset?
Well, I'm not watching Newcastle as attentively as I might have done if Guimaraes was playing.
They're doing the job. That's the thing, isn't it? They're doing the job. So, I mean, they got Brighton next. So it's right there. They can start catching up Brighton as well. In terms of Brentford, I mean, they haven't won in the last 5. Lost 4, drawn 1. I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, they got Norwich next. I mean, it seems like
they
a
played
crucial
really
game.
well, and Ericsson was a big lift. I can see, Ericsson's going to have a huge impact on this team.
Yeah.
He was taking the ball, and they played really well in the second half, even though they were man down. They put pressure on. So yeah, it's a shame. In a way, it's a shame the player got
So, no.
sent off. It's slightly harsh. you know, could have seen them not giving it, but
Do you reckon they can drop him? Because obviously the form, I mean, Newcastle and Burnley are in, and I mean Everton, got a really
well,
good
the key thing is Tony came back. I think came off the bench.
team off the bench, yeah.
It seems like so much of their belief and so much of their system works around Tony. So clearly he's a big piece in the thing. And yeah, definitely all those, like we might have prematurely said, yeah, the relegation places are done. I mean, I still believe in terms of Watford, Norwich, they'll go down. Burnley, they're the ones that look like they might give everyone above them a scare.
Yeah,
because
they drew 1-1.
They actually played really good. Played really good.
1-1 at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and that's another sign. Another sign of the direction they're going, because they got dominated in the first half. Crystal Palace really dominated in the first half, and then they dominated Crystal Palace in the second half. And yeah, when you come back away from home and you get a draw and you feel like, yeah, you could have won it, and you finish the game the stronger team. All right, last 5-10 minutes, Crystal Palace really threw caution to it, really went for it. Yeah, they came back into it, but that just gives you more confidence. If you don't have, it's not all about wins. These points from losing positions are huge. And the fact that they found a way to come back and get a draw, it's just keeping the momentum going.
I mean, if he keeps them up, does he get manager of the year?
No, not for me.
Okay.
Not for me.
Just thought might put him in there because of the situation he was in. But are we saying that Watford or Norwich are going down? So.
Well, I said all two are going down from the beginning. So
you're sticking to it.
Yeah, I'll stick to that. But yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, they got Watford have a better chance with Hodgson. Dean Smith, they played okay without really. Basically, in that first half, they had a couple of key breaks where it was 2v1. Actually, that's how aggressive Southampton defend. It was 2v1, but Pukki just never put his head up and made the pass. And you're always gonna feel like the player ain't got the quality for all their good play or all the good stuff that they do. Pukki or whoever it is, the players just will not have the quality to make the right pass or even finish it when the chance comes. So, yeah, at least they're showing they can compete and play at Premier League level in it.
Yeah,
which maybe you would say, yeah, they weren't really worthy of competing, but at least every game they're competing, they're challenging. But it comes down to personnel at the end of the day. I think the biggest loss for them, and what actually was the main reason why I completely was confident in Norwich not making it, was because the guy who's transformed them is out for the season, Adam Ida. As soon as he came into the team, he was so strong physically, but he was really linking up the play like a false nine, giving the thing and getting them up the pitch and creating chances. And he was playing really good. And the moment he got injured, I knew that's it, because he was the difference maker. And not many people picked up on it, but Adam Ida was the reason Norwich started to win games. And that's how it is at that level. One player can just make such a huge difference.
Yeah. In terms of other teams, I mean, Aston Villa 2-0 away win at Brighton. Back to winning ways for Gareth.
Yeah, I mean that was a real feisty game. What we come to expect of all Aston Villa games now, which is what we said, they got a real physical streak about them. I know I'm a bit. Even though they won is a good win, I'm getting a bit concerned about Aston Villa and long term whether Gerrard can take, because when they go down a goal, they tend to play more physically. When they score a goal, they go more physical. So what's really the game plan? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's sustainable in the long term.
Yeah.
If it's all about just being physical in the face of things, making it a scrappy game. Yeah, when you're losing, that's excellent, like they have been. So for now, yeah, that's good. But the Warriors, they do the same thing when they're losing.
Mm.
And yeah, make the game scrappy when you're winning away from home. That makes sense. But they do it when they're losing at home as well. They make it a scrappy game, make it all about getting into a physical altercation, bullying, flying in. And I mean, since Gerrard's gone in, they must be the team that gives away one of the most fouls. That'd be definitely a stat worth checking out. But every time I watch them,
I mean, this week they had one, two,
they give
three,
away.
4. They had 5 yellow cards, I do.
That first half was really physical, really. A lot of players kicking off, and and I think it's good to have those qualities and to have that side. I'm just concerned, is that the only game plan they have? I hope not, and I'd be surprised if it is, but I hope there's more to the plan than just scrapping every time you take the lead or every time you go down. There needs to be more. So, and they got the players. There's no excuse for it. And again, change the system, change the personnel. Maybe Watkins out wide, works. Give
I'm
him a
just
bit more freedom.
trying to look at the number of fouls. I think they committed 11 this week. I mean, Brighton done more, 17.
Yeah, because Brighton tried reacting to it, and that's how Aston Villa kind of got the better of him, because Brighton got into tug of war with a team that's more settled and suited to that type of football.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Brighton are definitely on a slump. They're struggling. I think Newcastle has killed their momentum, nicking Dan Byrne and then Dan Ashworth, and now they sacked the youth director, who's mostly or something, who's going to Newcastle as well. So
don't tell me they're going for Grandpa next as well.
maybe in the future that could end up happening, because we know how much Jan Ashworth admires Grandpa.
Grandpa, yeah. Mm-hmm. Watch this space.
Well, I think you have to give credit to Eddie Howe. He's doing well, so hopefully, I do like Eddie Howe.
When he first started, it seemed like he was really going to struggle. He wasn't changing much, but now all of a sudden, the Newcastle team looks like a complete different team. But obviously, confidence helps a lot.
Yeah, and signings, big signings, especially when you're taking key players from rivals.
Rivals, yeah. Another fantastic week, I do, isn't it? Next week, next week some big games.
Like I said, other than really today's Wolves West Ham game, most of the games are really exciting. Everyone's got something to play for.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, next week there's some massive games. You got Liverpool versus West Ham, Man City.
Well, this month is like exciting.
Yeah.
So nearly every game week, one of the big teams, top 6, are playing against each other.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah, this week is this month is coming up. March is going to be very exciting.
I think that's where it's going to be decided. I think in terms of like the places, March.
Nah, I think it's going to go down
to the wire. Interesting. Better for us. More entertainment.
Definitely.
Anyways, Adil, thank you for joining us, and those of you watching, thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and if you have any comments, if you want to let us know what you thought of the video, please leave a comment. Thank you.